Artificial intelligence, the future of gaming. What if AI could grind out games for us? Those really boring, tedious moments where you just gotta get to level 50, but you can't, it just takes too much time. Well, what if I could create an AI that plays Counter-Strike for you? So instead of, having to grind through the ranks, being stuck at silver forever, you let your computer play for you and you play at the rank that you feel like you should be at. So what it essentially would do was you can have two modes. You can have it assist you as a player, or it can play it fully on its own. The way it could assist the players, it can correct your aim, correct your gun recoil, predict where enemies could be on the map possibly by how they were playing the previous round, or just like a general thesis of where they could be by player movement, where they spawn, how much time has passed into the match. It advances mechanical movement inputs, like it could b-hop automatically for you so you can move faster as a player to get where you need to be on objectives. Or, when it plays on its own, it'll play those objectives by itself, do everything that it does for the player as well, to get to the best option to win. Makes the choices to win the game for you. AIs, when they're honed in, far exceed our human capabilities. They're a lot more focused, they're a lot more efficient, and they're a lot faster. When an AI is completely focused on its task, it is going to get it done the most efficient way as fast as possible. We like to think and process and really feel things out. Maybe we also didn't see that guy peeking, or we didn't, pick the right weapon for this situation. The AI is basically going to be better at remembering than we are and put that information together to predict the best possibility to get the W. So the creation process would be within a month, would be to make the GUI attached to the AI that would function more of a game assist. So making sliders, checks, to be like, oh, I want it to, aim lock, I want it to just correct my recoil. Both would be running in Python to make the process easier. So I don't have to encode the GUI in C# and then pass through Python code and then make a JSON file that the Python would have to read. I can just inherently edit those together. So when it comes to AI playing video games, there's multiple levels described by a YouTuber by ByCloud. He says level 1 AI, which is a short-term performance, would be simple game functions like just walking around the map, just navigating it, not even navigating, just mindlessly walking around, aiming the weapon at enemies, shooting the weapon, and then reacting to them. So shooting could be like the recoil control from earlier, and the reacting to enemies is, actually putting the crosshair on them. If it hears a footstep to its right, that'd be some basic game features. Level 2 AI would be a more intelligent game functions. So it would have map navigation, so it would know like, oh, I'm trying to get to A, this would be the most efficient route, but there could be enemies there, so maybe I go this route. It would also have ammo management, so it's like, oh, I'm running low, but there could be a gunfight around the corner, so maybe do I shoot, or do I reload, or do I not reload? And then health awareness as well, so if it gets to below a certain point, that maybe you should start playing a little more passive, right? These are things that we think of as gamers, but you would have to hard code into the AI. Like level 3, long-term performance, this is the even more human level. So managing your economy, cooperating with your teammates to get strategies, and your enemies aren't going to do the same thing every single time. So you have to be able to predict what they're doing and like see what they're actually doing and plan accordingly to it, adapt to it. But what would I develop? The AI level would be something closer to 1.5. It would use elements from short-term and medium-term. Nothing really from level 3 because that's a little too advanced, and the main focus of this, while it would be able to play on its own, is mostly to assist the player to ease their gaming experience. For one person and only 1 month, level 3 would be way too much. Here's some similar projects that have done basically what I'm talking about, but for different games. You have OpenAI 5, which is a very professional, there was a big development team going through and using Dota as their chosen game. What their approach was to the game was to directly communicate with the Dota 2 servers. So they would get player information like their exact XY coordinates, exact values of mana, recharge rates, what the other team was, like the moment the game starts. It has all of that information. And because this is on such a large scale and can run so many different scenarios, it trains about 180 years of experience in one day. And it's about 900 with each individual hero because there's so many different characters you can play as in that game. But on a smaller team, with one person as the developer, you have Python Plays GTA 5. What this did was, instead of embedding itself into the game and taking from the servers and everything, it would view it exactly how the player would. So it'd view the screen and say, oh, there's a stop sign here, I'm going to stop the car. The platform and API. So this project would utilize TensorFlow and CUDA to produce a Windows application. So basically what that is TensorFlow is a very good AI platform that pulls from many areas. Basically you feed it images, or this is also in tandem with CUDA. You feed CUDA images using your GPU, and then it trains TensorFlow to identify objects, predetermined objects. So basically I'd feed it enemies, and then it would say, yup, that's an enemy, and then it would go attack it or do whatever it had to do in that situation. So the learning outcomes. I'd be utilizing already established tools and integrating them into a different project. So I'd be taking old APIs and mashing them in together with what I want them to do. This would also help me with working, training, and altering AI. This AI was not made to read a video game and be like, oh, I need to shoot this enemy. But what I'm going to be doing is working with it and training it to be like, yep, that's an enemy. What I have to do is click on them so that I can win. It would also help me with UI and UX to make the interactive portion with the sliders and the ticks and everything so that you can get it functioning how you as the player would want it to assist you. Thank you.